As a guy, you are biologically wired to be deathly afraid of talking to girls because when I first created humans in the caveman times, humans rolled in tribes of a dozen or a few dozen people, so the social circle of people you lived and survived with was incredibly small. This makes social consequences of your actions on display for everyone in your tribe to see and judge you for. If your social actions were too severe, then you could potentially be ostracized from the group and left to fend for yourself, which would mean almost certain death, death from saber-toothed tigers, woolly mammoths, giant insects, and other tribes of humans. Because of this, the people who survived and evolved are the people who felt signs of social anxiety and nervousness when it comes to talking to girls. The problem with talking to girls in these times is that there were very few options for guys to choose from. In a tribe of a dozen or maybe 2 dozen people, how many hot girls do you think there were? Not a whole hell of a lot. So this makes the competition between men much higher, and it makes the stakes way higher when talking to girls because if you fucked up, then you wouldn't be able to stick your caveman stick in her and produce offspring, if you know what I'm saying. Then you wouldn't be able to pass on your genes and you'd be a failure as a human. Your biggest issue with dating and girls that your prehistoric ancestors faced was scarcity, baby. The options back then were so few and far between that cavemen were forced to act in scarcity. This is why things like nervousness, approach anxiety, and all the other pressure and nerves that come along with talking to girls is so normal and prevalent. In fact, it's a good thing because it shows that you are a normal person who understands social consequences and aren't some sort of psycho-sociopath with no social awareness who'll probably end up just burying the bodies in his basement anyway. Now that you understand why you naturally feel nervous and unconfident when talking to girls, the first thing to do is understand that you're not living in the caveman days. It's the 21st century, baby! The social consequences for your actions are astronomically slim because there are like 8 billion people on the planet and millions of people per city. So if you go up to a girl in a bar and she totally blows you out, there are still more than a dozen other girls in that same bar that don't know that girl and don't know the awkward or stupid thing you just did to mess it all up. So you have a clean slate with virtually every girl you meet, every girl walking down the street, every girl on Tinder, on Bumble, every girl you DM on Instagram, and the billions of girls in the world. This is what I like to call the clean slate theory. The idea is simple. It means almost any girl you meet, 9 times out of 10, she will know nothing about you, and you can present yourself to her in any way you want. And prior mess-ups or embarrassing moments with girls in the past get wiped clean when you approach the new girl. All she knows is what you show her and tell her. How beautiful is that? You see, the reason the clean slate theory exists is because we now live in a society of abundance. There is an abundance of apps to meet girls on. There is an abundance of bars, clubs, and parties to meet girls at. And an abundance of girls to meet all over the world. And to make sure you're ready to slay, you need to make sure you're all groomed and manscaped at all times. Since there's always an opportunity to get your caveman stick handled, if you know what I'm talking about. Manscaped has the right tools for your family jewels in order to make sure your balls are clean shaved, smell good, and are ready to go. And times are good because right now, Manscaped is offering their Perfect Package 2.0 Manscaping Kit to ensure that you get laid. The kit comes with an electric trimmer, a stainless steel safety razor, Crop Preserver deodorant, their Crop Reviver spray to quickly freshen up your balls for sex, disposable shaving mats, and a free travel bag to store all your manscaping tools. And when you subscribe to Manscaped's Replenish Pack, you get a brand new ceramic replacement blade refill for your Lawnmower 2.0 trimmer automatically in the mail every 3 months. Swapping out your trimmer head helps ensure you're always using the most hygienic, precision engineering tools for the caveman stick job. Each refill package comes with a free mystery gift. With a replenishment plan, you'll never run out of your favorite manscaping tools ever again, and you can cancel anytime. So, if you want to make sure your magic stick is ready for some caveman pleasure, or even just regular ground and pound, you gotta visit Manscaped at the link in my description. Having a solid understanding of clean slate theory is the first step in learning how to confidently talk to girls. Knowing that the consequences of fucking things up with one girl are virtually zero should empower you to stop getting trapped in scarcity and to start acting in abundance. This is the first step in creating a shift from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset in your dating life. Be willing to say stuff that's a little risky and not play an interaction too safe is only possible when you have an understanding of the clean slate theory and are acting in abundance rather than scarcity. Now, this doesn't mean to try to be flashy in your game and try really ridiculous things for the sake of being shocking or flashy. It just means that you have to be willing to play to win as opposed to playing to not lose. A lot of guys would rather have a 20-minute conversation with a girl about boring small talk topics that aren't romantically charged and end up with a "nice to meet you," as opposed to having an interaction that gets blown out within the first 5 minutes. Guys who are willing to tease the girl, use techniques like magnifying, and physically escalate are the guys who will appear confident and abundant to the girl, and will win more often and more consistently than the guys who play it safe and just stick to the safe small talk bullshit that doesn't get results and will only get you, you got it, the "nice to meet you" before she walks away and never talks to you again. I don't know about you, but I'd rather get a "hey, shake hands with Mr. Happy," if you know what I'm saying. Now, if you want this idea of the clean slate to actually work and stick in your head when you're interacting with girls, your actions have to match this principle. You need to act in abundance with girls, reject scarcity, and be willing to play to win, as opposed to playing to not lose, because these are two very different things and only one will actually get you the results you want and are looking for. And that's it. I wanted to make a video about this because one of my biggest problems I see guys facing today is this scarcity mindset, and it's ruining their confidence when talking to the girls they're interested in. Videos like this that break down the psychological and broader concepts can oftentimes be more important than the super specific little tips and tricks, because these more abstract concepts are what will guide you and apply to all of your interactions across the board, as opposed to these super specific scenarios that I often get questions about. Be sure to keep this in mind moving forward. And don't forget to check out our sponsor, Manscaped, so you can get your hands on their Perfect Package 2.0 and their replenishment pack with the Peak Hygiene Plan, so you can have your caveman stick ready for the abundance of girls you'll be slaying.